Let us present you an interactive, cross-platform, parallel reservoir simulator TecScheme. In this tutorial, we'll show you how to load a static geological model and then create a simulation model. You will know how to load a grid, properties, and well data. You'll know how to set well events and history, relative permeabilities, PVT data, aquifer, and initial equilibrium data. You'll know how to launch a simulation model and control computations, how to assess the model quality and set out the result with graphics and tables. Geological model and other data are presented by the following formats. You can download all these files on the TecScheme website. When you run TecScheme, the window Start is opened. We are creating a new project, so click on New Project button. Then set the project name and its location. Let's load the geological model. In the main menu select Project, Import. TecScheme Simulator supports widespread rescue and gearchaical formats. Click the option Load Model from Rescue. Select the bin file. This file contains information about grid, some initial properties, and well trajectories. The data have been loaded. We can see the list of the imported wells. Also such data as well list and trajectories are colored black. Geological properties are imported as user-defined ones. To use them in the simulation, save them as initial properties. Click right mouse button on oil saturation and select Save As. Save this property as initial oil saturation. Save porosity in the same way. By default, NTG property is equal to 1 for all grid blocks. Save another user-defined property as X permeability. By default, a reservoir is isotropic. All properties and wells can be seen on 2D and 3D maps. Double-click on property name opens it on 2D map. Open Well Editor module to set well tops. In the main menu select Actions, Calculate well tops. Well tops are shown black. By default, grid and properties are displayed layer by layer from top to bottom. Use Page Down and Page Up buttons to switch layers. Current layer and number of layers are shown on the info line. A range of values of selected property is shown on the Scale toolbar. Make sure that you use correct units. Permeability units are square micrometers. Porosity and saturation units are fractions. Properties shown on the map can be also visualized on the vertical cross-section. Press Ctrl Z on the map. Set point locations of cross-section clicking on the map. Click wells to add them on your cross-section. Finally, click right mouse button to create the cross-section. Any property can be displayed as 2D map by averaging. For example, initial porous volume can be used as weight coefficient. If you have any polygons like oil-water or gas-oil contact, you can load them in the project. Press Alt-3 on the 2D map. In the main menu select Polygons, load polygons from file. Select File with BLN extension. The polygon is displayed on the map. Save it in the project. Press Save Polygons in the project on the vertical toolbar. Type polygon name and press OK button. You can also create your own polygon. Press Create Polygon on the vertical toolbar. Set point locations of your polygon clicking on the map. And save the polygon in the project. Let's display the oil saturation on the 3D map. Press Map 3D on the toolbar. Press F4 to load a property. Select a property by double-click. Let's add dynamic well data in the project. Press Project, Import, import well data in the main menu. Press Well History and Modes. Select a well history text file with extension txt. Also import well events, perforations. A few well data formats are supported in TecScheme. Double-click on History. Selecting wells from the list, we can see their production and ejection history. Use arrows up and down to switch wells. Here you can see the historical period of all the wells. Let's use this data to set a simulation period and time steps. Double-click on Calculation Time Steps on the Project Data toolbar. In the main menu, press Time Steps, Create Period of Simulation. Let's set the first date of simulation as the beginning of the year when production started. Time step length is equal to 1 quarter. Therefore, the historical period is equal to 40 time steps. Final simulation date is defined automatically, and it's excluded from simulation. Period of simulation created. History contains Action Time column. This data should be taken into account in historical modes. Press Historical Modes on the vertical toolbar. Press Create Modes from Well History on the toolbar. Available options for well control are Production, Injection, Bottom hole, or Wellhead pressure. Unselect option Calculate Action Time from Dates of History, so historical action time will be used. Use arrows up and down to switch wells. Let's check well data. In the main menu, select Modules, Model Properties, Well Analyzer. Press Check on the toolbar. To fix an arrow, click right mouse button on it and select the related editor, Historical or Forecast modes. Calculated well connection factors that are used in simulation depend on skin factor and productivity multiplier. Let's add reservoir and fluid properties. File Reservoir Properties contains this information. Firstly, fill out the fluid properties. Double-click on PVT. Let's set fluid types and their properties in a tabular style. Also specify rock properties. Switch to relative permeabilities. Let's set a table of oil-water saturation functions. Graphical view of these functions is on the right. Capillary pressure is described in a separate module. It's possible to calculate initial equilibrium since following data is specified: grid and initial properties, PVT, capillary pressure. Built-in static simulator is used for these calculations. Double-click on initial conditions. Add a new condition. Fill in the record and activate it. Let's start the calculation. Capillary forces will be modified to make initial saturations satisfy equilibrium condition. All boundaries are impermeable by default. Open Aquifer module for water inflow modeling. Simulated TecScheme supports two aquifer models, Fetkovich and Carter-Tracy. Add a new record. select grid blocks connected with aquifer. Let's set grid edges as connections. User property aquifer has been created. Save the project using Ctrl S hotkey. Reservoir model created. Launch Run Simulation module on the toolbar to start computations. Parallel computations help to speed up simulation. If necessary, you can edit simulation settings using keywords. Choose which calculated properties are to be written on which time steps, so then you will be able to see them on the maps. Save changes pressing Save File on the toolbar. Now all settings are saved in the configuration file. Press Run Simulation on the toolbar. The domain decomposition program will be launched first, then the reservoir simulator. Model is ready for simulation. If necessary, you can pause or terminate the simulation. Press combination Ctrl-Shift-Escape to see how parallel computations of TecScheme work. Task Manager shows the usage of CPU. You can visualize the simulation results on maps or plots even if your computations aren't over. Use combination Ctrl and arrows right and left to see the dynamics of the simulation results. Or use the slider. Let's use the result plots. Add field and well parameters on the plot. Hide parameters you don't need. More information about the reservoir simulator TecScheme can be found on the website or by request to support service.